Good morning. This is the debut of Ben at 10, and what a day to do it as we have a very active weather pattern on the way, coming our way later on tonight, and actually will continue for the rest of this week. So we are on Xtoll Weather. Xtoll Weather is a new place where you're going to get live streaming. I will be doing Ben at 10 Monday through Friday. That's going to begin next week. Xtoll Weather has a weather page at xtollmag.com/weather. And if you go to Xtoll Weather right here on Facebook, you're going to have the live streams here, more weather information all the time. Xtoll means we celebrate. We highly praise Southern Indiana. So our focus will be on Southern Indiana, but also beyond as well. And we're going to roll out the red carpet here for our big guest, our celebrity guest, to get this all kicked off. This is former meteorologist in charge, the head of our local National Weather Service, who's been doing it for about 80 years, but recently retired. John Gordon, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Ben.
Recently retired, and you're still keeping very busy in the weather department, and thanks for helping us out today on such a big weather day. Tell us about some of your history. I know some of you might know Monty Webb. He was my boss, chief meteorologist, and you worked with him in Oklahoma.
I did.
Air Force background and more.
Yeah, I've been doing this since Moses. I started in Oklahoma City. I worked with Monty Webb. He was the staff sergeant.
You brought Moses. There's a flood on the way.
There was always thing. We got an arc being built right now here in State Street. I did Oklahoma for 4 years. I went to Germany, got the forecast for the Air Force over there for 4 years. Had a big area between Iceland and Russia. Then I started in the Weather Service, Jackson, Mississippi, Springfield, Missouri, Nashville, Tennessee, Huntsville, Alabama. I ran that office, and then Louisville for 20 years.
So you're saying you have some experience.
Just a little bit, 40 years. See this gray hair? 40 years of working storms.
And actually, you don't know the value and the treasure of his brain and what it has accumulated over the years, and you're going to get to experience some of this right now.
We're going to have some fun.
So we've been friends for a long time, for over 17 years, and what you're going to see here is we like to have a little fun, but this is a serious situation. So we're gonna have to be serious for a large part of this, because there is we're under level 4 out of the 5 severe weather risk categories in our area, and this is going to be heading our way later on tonight, likely after about 9 p.m. In southern Indiana, maybe around 11 p.m.-ish, give or take, for Metro Louisville. This is going to be a line of strong to severe storms that we're going to be watching out for, with the capability, John, of all the hazards. Large hail potential, damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, tornadoes, frequent lightning, heavy rainfall, heavy rainfall, heavy rainfall.
Yes, that's exactly right. So, folks, this is the real deal, okay? This is not blown up. There's no hype here. We try to tell you the way it is. I've known Ben a long time. We're straight shooters. So it's warm today. So we're going to have a wind advisory. That will be very windy today, 25, gusts 35, maybe gusts into the close to 50. And then we wait. We probably warm up to close to 80 today. And then tonight, there, as you can see on the screen right there, there's a line of storms right now west of St. Louis that goes to Springfield on the Ozarks down there to Tulsa and the eastern part of Oklahoma. Through time, that's going to move east. You see Ben zooming in there right now. That purplish white area, that's the high risk. The only issue about 1 or 2 of those a year from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. So you see places basically west Paducah, western part of the state, Cape Girardeau, Sikeston. Memphis is really under a bad situation tonight. That area you see right there will probably develop late afternoon after 4 o'clock and explode rapidly to the northeast.
So like you mentioned, 1 or 2 times a year, you get the high risk. So this is some rare air we're talking about. And level 4, moderate risk, is even rare for a specific area in the country and our area.
Yeah, we may see a moderate every 3 years here. It's very rare, at least in our area. So that goes into northern Mississippi. The new outlook that just came out, we do Zulu time. Sorry, everybody, that's how we do things. That's basically an hour ago. That goes well back into eastern Arkansas, now into the tip of Louisiana. That will explode this afternoon, because what you see there is that line is moving off to the east, and that air it's moving into is clear. So this warm, moist air from the Gulf is going to pump up. So you're going to have fuel. That's number one. You need moisture. The lift is along the cold front, which you can see back there in Missouri. And then you need instability. So with sunshine there and not that much cloud cover south of Memphis, that's going to be a prime area for development of storms. And then you see what the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted. You can't go any higher than that. And it will be pretty bad. And that will eventually move here to southern Indiana towards midnight.
And those storms are happening, as we can see here on the radar and satellite combined. That purple color that you see there that's kind of highlighted, that is the tornado watch that is through St. Louis and down to Little Rock, as you mentioned, with that line starting to blow up to the southwest under that very unstable air. So first of all, we wanted to give you a heads up to the severe weather threat that we have. But we're also going to be digging in and getting a little nerdy here. We're going to look at some of the ingredients and analyze that. We're going to look at the weather model data. We're going to time it all out for you. So we're going to spend some time. We've got a lot of time that we are going to be able to hang out here for you and answer any questions that might also pop up on our live stream. So thanks for watching here on Xtol Weather. So there's the line that is out to the west, west of St. Louis right now. I'm going to bring up some of the weather model data. And then we're going to time this out and take a look at when it's going to come in. Again, I mentioned it looks like it's going to be after about 9 p.m. So, personally, my son has a baseball game up in Mitchell, Indiana at 5 o'clock, right, up in Bedford. That game goes until, say, 7:30. But then you got the drive home.
Oh, yeah.
So we're probably okay, right?
Probably okay.
Probably okay.
But don't dilly dally.
You want to go ahead and get home.
Time to leave. Expedite.
And you hope a little line doesn't surge ahead or something like that. So it is a close call. And I talked to a lot of athletic directors. You've done the same thing, and people planning after school events. It looks like most after school events, I would say, are okay for today, other than wind gusts maybe 40 miles per hour.
Correct.
My daughter has tennis practice. Tennis practice with a ball flying 30, 40 miles an hour. Yeah. So
that line.
I'm going to pull up the weather model data.
He's doing the line. I'll just tell you the line there. They're issuing a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings in there, mainly for wind. Mm-hmm. That you'll see that line push from the west to east, and it's got a lot of wind energy up top. There's an upper level jet stream, which we'll see here in a minute. I see Eastern has already canceled all after school activities. Thank you, Kimberly. Yeah, what it's worth.
Yeah, thanks, Kimberly, for that report there.
For what it's worth, I really feel the weather will not get into the area till after 9:30. I really
so
feel that.
This is one of the weather models here. We're looking at the HRRR, the high resolution rapid refresh weather model. It's one of the higher resolution weather models. You've got short-term weather models that can allow convection or thunderstorms. They look more like your real radar. You get farther out with the GFS or the Euro, medium, long range. They're a little more smooth. They don't allow the convection. We're going to look at the longer range models. We talk about the flooding on the way after we talk about tonight's event. So as I move the model ahead in time, and I'll zoom in a little bit here. So you can see, John, here, there's the timestamp at 8 p.m.
Yep.
And notice
it's still up to the west.
It's still just out to the west. We'll look at a couple different weather models here because you give or take, I would say, an hour or two.
I agree.
Just to be safe. Definitely have your plan in place, a safe place to seek shelter. If you live in a mobile home, you might want to find a friend or a place where you can go, a sturdier shelter for later on tonight. Want to get that out there.
Start getting your plans now. Not tonight at 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Have your plan now.
So this is 9 p.m. Penny Keith asked me, and her grandson's on my son's baseball team. We're looking near Bedford at 9 p.m. So game is over, but you may even have a warning because you guys issue warnings half hour, 45 minutes ahead of time.
Right.
So the storm might be 30 miles west, and then you're getting a warning.
And you got a gust front out here.
Yeah.
So what's called an outflow boundary, which is the cool wind that pushes along the thunderstorms out ahead of it. So Bedford, you just look there right now, Bedford, Jasper, down to Owensboro, it will be impinging on them right about that time.
DJ Zip with Lions Roofing asking, no wind damage, please. So they're like booked for the year because of the hailstorm that we had.
Sorry.
And now
we're in sales, not production.
So the roofing business, you got the hail problems here. You've got the wind damage problems that are going to be a potential. Right. These are looking big and bad. We're going to move forward in time. Here's 10 p.m. So then we're getting those storms possibly heading towards
Yes.
Bedford, Paoli. We're looking at Austin, Indiana, Seymour, Scottsburg's going to have a heads up around this time.
Yeah.
So again, I've got this stopped at 10 p.m.
So real quick here, those blue and white things you see on the screen there, those are the models picking up cores of hail and intense things. So there's going to be hail on some of the more intense storms. Wind is the primary driver. But if you look at that radar data, just looking at it right now, if you look at that picture right there, you see these little nubs and inflow notches. So these little ups and downs, you see that around Milltown. That doesn't mean it's going to be at Milltown, but the models are detecting wind shear along the line. You see that one right here.
I want to point out, this is not right now. No. This is at 10 p.m.
Correct.
Okay.
But tonight you'll see a squall line, what are known as a quasi-linear convective system, a QLCS. And there will be, I guarantee there will be severe thunderstorm warnings out with this line tonight, and some of them will be upgraded to tornado warnings.
Correct. And you could have hail inch or 2 inches, golf ball size hail with the power of these thunderstorms. So this is why we're under level 4 out of 5 severe weather risk categories over southern Indiana, and then along and west of I-65 under level 4.
Yes.
As you get deeper in time tonight, you start to lose a little bit of that juice, the fuel, the instability, the CAPE, the convective available potential energy.
Right.
All kind of the same the terms that we use. As that goes down a little bit, you can still have severe storms and wind damage, but the threat just diminishes a little bit.
Through overnight. Yeah, the big thing you're going to notice as Ben moves us through time is that blob of red, if you will. And in that, you're going to have a lot of heavy rain. I mean, it's going to rain really, really, really hard between 11 and like 2, 3 in the morning.
So we talked about this earlier as well. As you typically we see a line of storms move on through. It starts to set up parallel to the upper flow.
Exactly right.
And we set up a stationary front. So then we're going to look at repeated waves of wet weather tomorrow. There might be some brief breaks in there. That's what we need. We're going to talk with the hydrologist Mike Callahan from the National Weather Service. You worked with him for a very long time.
Yeah, he did.
He's going to talk about the flooding potential, which is going to be a high potential, possibly life-threatening. People don't realize that flooding is one of the number one killers from storms.
Absolutely.
We think tornadoes all the time, but flooding is a big-time issue. So that's why we're going to focus on that at 2 p.m. right here on Xtoll Weather. So stay tuned later on today. Another big-time expert will be on our show. So again, this is at 11 p.m. We talked about that earlier this morning, and the weather models are going along with around 11 p.m. So
yeah, right around here, if you're in Clarksville, the Knobs, Sellersburg, I think 11 o'clock is not a bad number for the worst of it. As early as 9:30, but 11 is not a bad play. You can see the stuff moving off to the east-northeast, that line. It's really, look at how tight that leading edge is. It's really an abrupt change, and that's an indication there's strong energy, strong wind up against it. If you notice, you don't see as many hail cores as you move further east, what Ben was just saying, because you're losing some of the fuel, but you're not losing the moisture. So when we look at the amount of moisture in the atmosphere, we look at what's called PWAT, precipitable water. So and that is maxed out. Normally this time of year, it's about a half inch of moisture in the air. Now we've got almost 2 inches of moisture in the air. So we're going to have very heavy, these storms will take that fuel, that moisture, and dump a lot of rain. So you're going to get wind for sure. And then, I'm sorry, the contractor didn't want wind. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I see Mike Callahan is my cousin. The reason I go in weather. Good. Thanks, Kimberly. Yeah. Mike will love that.
We're looking at a couple of comments here. Me and my family heading to Florida, back in Bardstown starting at 3 p.m. We'll be running into tornadoes through Tennessee and back home during the overnight hours Thursday into Friday morning. I think you're fine there.
You're Thursday. Much better. It'll be raining, but not like tonight. Tonight would not be a good night to drive.
Yeah.
Delay, yes.
Back to your point, you don't want to see organization like that through the late night hours. You got to find a way, multiple ways to get alerts. A lot of us sleep through the buzzing of your phone if you're getting a text or whatever. Hopefully that your alerts are on when you go to bed. Your phone is charged up. Weather radio would be good. So definitely have a way to wake up if a warning is issued for your area through the late night hours. So this, John, is through midnight, and then you can see the storms heading towards Lexington and probably becoming a little more disorganized as we head after midnight. And also one thing to point out, when these storms get so organized, they can make a cold pool above, and it just keeps the whole organization very, very strong. Yes. it's kind of making its own storm system.
Right, exactly right. So there's two big drivers for this to go. We got the cold front coming through, and then we have what's called an upper level jet streak. So you have a very strong 100 mile per hour plus upper level jet coming through, so that enhances the lift process. So you have a front, and then this upper level area that continues to lift. That's actually promising that they got it moving through more than that. I'm not sure that's going to be the real case. My sense is that will stall more. I think that's too progressive.
Yeah. And we'll look at a different weather model too.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the NAM 3 kilometer.
Okay, let's see what that does.
And so that does have it over still at 2 a.m. there.
Yes.
We'll move forward. This is 3 a.m.
And you see more waves out to the west.
So this is the problem with flooding.
Yes.
This is 5 a.m.
Yes.
So we've already been super saturated. We might get an inch or two of rainfall late tonight in some areas. If you don't get a big thunderstorm over your area, you might be looking at around an inch of rainfall. If you get a big thunderstorm, a couple of them, you might be up to that 2-inch amount for tonight. Right. And then we get this next wave. So we're looking at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning per the NAM 3 kilometer. The 3 kilometer is a more high resolution weather model, like the HER.
But it definitely trends. You definitely have more convection again, reforming back there. I think that first one you showed is the typical in and out of here. But I think this is more realistic.
That's 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And this is at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Yeah. So this is kind of the nature of what we'll be dealing with for possibly 4 days. You have a stationary front. It's laying over you. Here, I'll go full screen so I can. Okay. I'm a meteorologist. I use my hands a little bit.
I got it. So this is our thing.
Stationary front lays over you. You've got leftover winter north. We're going to see some of these maps here in a minute. You've got spring transition season coming up from the south. So you got this battleground laid over the Ohio River, Ohio Valley.
Right.
The stationary fronts wobble a little bit. You get little lows to travel along the stationary front. Those are going to be the waves of rain that we have. Friday afternoon, John, it looked to me like that it might wobble a little north. Yes. And we might have a brief period of some dry time Friday afternoon. That could recharge things, maybe bring in another round of some strong storms to parts of our area late Friday, Saturday, more waves of wet weather Saturday into Sunday. We don't get this front to push through, it looks like, until maybe Saturday night.
Right. That's exactly right. So the frontal position over the next 4 days will be the key driver of how this plays out. You've seen some computer models telling you 17 inches of rain in different places.
We'll bring one of them up.
Yeah, that's a bit extreme.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So what's going to happen through time is you're going to have these waves of energy, like Ben said, that will continue to push along this front. And where the front sets up, it's going to rain the most. So when you go back in history, weather is a very interesting thing to always look at from a historical point of view. So you go to the 37 flood, the 45 flood, the 64 flood, the 78, the 96. All of them occurred in December, January, February, and early March.
It's a bad time of year
for a bad time of the year.
For
it
rain.
Really is.
You've got a high water table. The ground is saturated. Yes. Even when we dried out for a week or so ago, I was playing golf, as we like to do. And the golf course superintendent says, even though we've been dry, we still have water coming up from under the ground and creating wet spots. So we have not dried out.
We have not dried out. And we just got all that rain Sunday night. So that just, and I'm seeing some people. My son is flying in tonight to Louisville. What time, Jennifer? Hopefully before 10 p.m.
So I've got a good buddy that's a pilot, and they know what to do. They have dispatchers that plan their routes. They're meteorologists a lot of times. So they take weather very seriously, and they do know how to fly around thunderstorms, and thankfully you don't see many problems.
Yes, they make good decisions. UPS has got a problem tonight. I feel sorry for UPS.
I just wanted to pop this up real quick. This is a look at the total rainfall into Sunday. The GFS was pretty crazy with like those 12, 13 amounts. Maybe a little more realistic, 8 to 10.
Yeah.
But this is a 4-day total.
It's a 4-day total. This is not all at once. You might remember the August 09 event, folks, where we had that big flash flood emergency in the Louisville metro. That was in a day. This is over 4 days.
August 4th, 2009.
True. Yeah. So I think these are not bad numbers. Low end, 6. High end, 10. That's what I would say would be a good number in there.
And what does that do? We're going to talk more about this with Mike Callahan, the Ohio River. We've got thunder coming up the following weekend. And people were asking about the waterfront. There could be a lot of cleanup with the waterfront.
Yeah, the waterfront's going to be muddy. That's a forecast you can go with. It will be a muddy waterfront. It's going to be a mess down there. And so Mike Callahan will have a better idea on how much rain goes in. Rivers are different because all the water goes through the water cycle, from the streams to the creeks to the rivers eventually, and the big rivers. So where it falls, that max you see down there, that will really hit places on the far end of the Ohio going into the Mississippi. If we get more rain on the northeast side, that will really make Louisville much higher. So they're going to work up these numbers. I go with what Mike says. Is there any tornado risk with that line tomorrow?
Hey, Alex Waters, thanks. I appreciate that very much. Jill, thanks for tuning in here. Is there any tornado risk with that line tomorrow morning, or are we clear after 2 a.m.? I would say the tornado risk is going away after 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's very low.
And then your flood risk is going up.
Your real tornado risk is probably from 9:30 to about 2-ish.
That's Christina Ferenczi asking that question. Stacy, I hope Paoli postpones the art fair. There's going to be a lot of postponing things over the next 4 days.
And the thing, Ben, I want to talk about what Ben said. We may have a dry period Friday. So depending how this front sets up, it is not going to rain like Noah's Ark did in the Bible, okay? We are going to have some breaks, and the breaks will be more pronounced depending how this thing sets up. The forecast will be evolving a lot as far as the time frames. The one thing we feel very confident about is tonight. It will rain. 100% chance of rain, 100% chance of storms tonight. That's a fact. After 6 a.m., it's more problematic tomorrow of how this is going to evolve.
Yeah, with all the waves of heavy rain. And Eldora Rogers asking, my son is arriving at Bloomington. When should arrive at the Bloomington area? My son goes to IU. Shout out IU. My daughter will be going there in the fall. It looks like after about 9 p.m. Up northwest towards Bloomington.
Probably something like that.
Up around there. Thank you for that question there, Eldora.
Hail damage has had over 400 calls since, imagine that.
Kimberly Bishop, my contractor who's taking care of our hail damage, has over 400 calls since Sunday night storms. And those calls are going to be coming in. I've talked to, Lions Roofing, again, DJ there. These companies might have to start hiring, and they're going to need more crews because of all the damage.
The really big hail for tonight is really this afternoon and evening way west of here. So places like Jonesboro, Memphis, I don't know my counties in Eastern Arkansas, Northern Mississippi, Western Tennessee, big hail. Like we're talking, there'll be places, I guarantee you're going to get some baseballs. Somewhere in there, we'll get some baseballs. Hopefully hopefully in a field somewhere.
So there's the storms out west. Now I want to get a little bit nerdy. We wanted to give you the big, huge heads up about the severe weather potential. And if you're just tuning in here at 10:23 on this April 2nd, I'm meteorologist Ben Piney, by the way. I'm going to break this down a little bit. So when I started in television around this area 17 years ago, sometimes they want you to, my real last name is Piney, and they wanted to take out an E, make it Pine. So I'm going back to the German heritage of my real last name, which is like Heine Brothers Coffee. It's Piney. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I didn't know this. I lived in Germany for 3.5 years. This is great news.
So Ben Piney here. So back to our weather that we're talking about. We're going to get a little more nerdy as it goes along here, meaning there are a lot of ingredients that we want to check out and maybe educate you when we talk about and prepare you for these events. We talk about the CAPE, that's the fuel for the storms, precipitate water, how much moisture we have, dew points, and all that stuff. So I'm going to kind of clear this out and clean up the map a little bit. And we're going to go to what is the mesoanalysis. So we're going to get basically real-time data. And this is the CAPE. And we'll be able to click on some of this. So that's not what you want. And you have to imagine, John, that a lot of that's going to start to spread our way.
Yes. This is, he mentioned CAPE. That is not from Batman. That's convective available potential energy. It's basically if you lift your temperature and your moisture from the surface and lifted it, it gets warm air, rises, goes up. It hits a point. If it gets stronger than or colder than the environmental air, it allows thunderstorms to go ballistic and gives that energy, goes way up into the sky.
When I do school talks, I often say you hold a beach ball underwater,
That's
you
right.
let it go, and it shoots
That's
up.
a good
that
example.
buoyancy.
Yeah.
So this is that very lightweight air that if a storm gets going, it's going to use it.
And all these weather people, folks, do so many weird things. Look how we measure CAPE in joules per kilogram.
Right.
So there's this balloon, real quick. There's this balloon that goes up to almost 100,000 feet at all these places in America. We get all this data from this weather balloon. It's called a Ray One-Son. There's a quiz later on. Anyway, you get temperature and pressure and dew point and wind, and we use that. You always hear in the models. The models did this. The models did that. That all starts with that balloon. Also, real quick, UPS on their airplanes have all kinds of great data that we get. That's allow you to get this model. Without that, there'd be nothing.
Correct. And we need more of those balloon launches, not less.
We need data.
So this is the fuel. That fuel is there. I'm going to go over to some other products that we can look at. I want to look at the winds because we have a wind advisory. So this is about 5,000 feet, 850 millibar winds. This is your low level jet. Think about this. It's not that high up. And you've got winds possibly over 70 miles per hour. So some of that translates to the ground. You get damaging wind gusts.
So we got this low pressure system off to the northwest. We're in what's called the warm sector. So it'll be really warm today.
Look at over us now.
Yeah, right.
It's a big low level jet.
Yeah, so you notice the clouds will be moving very fast today. So you have what's called a pressure gradient. So you have high pressure to the east, off the East Coast, and this low pressure, I don't know where it is, somewhere over there, Missouri, Illinois. And there's this gradient of pressure, so you get these strong winds. And it's all the way up. Ben's got it up at 5,000 feet. And you see there's between 60, 70 mile an hour winds on there. And as that front moves east and the daytime heating occurs along that front, more of that wind energy can translate downward.
Yeah. Let's go up a little bit higher. We'll go 500 millibar winds. This is about 18,000 feet or so. And this not only, provides a lot of wind energy and shear, but also lift. It's one of the kickers that gets that upper level divergence. And I know there's a lot of weather words and everything, but it's just another thing that keeps that line charged up as it moves in.
Yeah, the upper level jet stream is really key to this event. So you have low level flow. We just did the 5,000 foot winds. Now we're up at 18. The same thing at 30,000 would look just like this. So all that energy is coming in from Texas through Memphis and up to Louisville and off to the east. So you're getting ascent, lifting of parcels of air. And that goes back into the whole storm system to allow for really strong development of storms and maintaining them through time as you move to the east.
Look at that, over 100 mile an hour jet up there.
And that will move east. So that's
kind of halfway through our atmosphere that we
do. Is that right now?
Yep.
Okay, go to can you move it forward?
This is from the SPC, so this is current. I will with the models here in a minute.
Okay.
So also we were looking at, we can look at how much moisture we got. We've got a lot of stuff that we can look at. Echo tops.
Where's the moisture? Well, you can do the 850 moisture if you want. You can do that.
So
look, that's
it was dry not long ago.
It was very dry. We're not dry anymore.
So I'll just back up the view.
So you see it's dry in West Texas right now, but all that moisture is being lifted to the north and northeast. That's at 5,000 feet. The whole column of the atmosphere is going to get really saturated, especially after this main line comes through tonight. We will be moist for days, unfortunately.
So I'm going to go back to the model data.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to look at some other parameters here. Maybe just...
You want to show the...
we could bring back... Let's see what the HER has available. And we're going to bring up dew point for a second.
Yeah, there it is. A lot of moisture.
So you may feel that the atmosphere has changed out there today, getting humid.
Yeah. Between now and 6 o'clock, the dew point will rise some 15 degrees.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is
we're going to really.
So that's at 6 p.m. today, right here.
60 miles an hour off 5,000 foot. That's going to pump all that off to the north. So good tailwind if you're driving today. Go to Cincinnati, you get a nice tailwind.
So that you get dew points over 60, you're starting to feel the mugginess a little bit, and we haven't felt mugginess coming off of wintertime.
Not at all.
That is one of the ingredients that we're talking about when it comes to severe weather.
Absolutely.
We've got wind gust potential, reflectivity.
We've seen that.
total preset hail size. I wouldn't mind checking this out.
I don't know what this is going to look like. This should be interesting. That's right now.
So we'll take this into our area.
It's going to move east. Imagine that.
This doesn't mean that that's all hail. This is potential if a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
If a thunderstorm comes in to our area. So we'll look at it as it's over our area.
What time's that? 11 o'clock. Imagine that.
So that just shows hail potential for our area. There's lightning parameter. You were talking about precipitable water.
No, that's really key.
A water-loaded atmosphere.
Yeah. Okay, so when you have that much moisture in the atmosphere, you can see it's measured in all kinds of weird units.
Yeah.
But with storms that are slow moving, I believe you're going to see that thing slow down as it approaches the 65 corridor. Between 65 and 127, it will really slow down.
I'm going to take this into tomorrow, to your point, keeping the precipitable water.
Yeah, they've got us outlook for tomorrow.
That was the herd. The other one, I think this was too progressive, but this is the NAM.
Okay.
So the precipitable water stays over Kentucky more.
Yeah. Now, tomorrow we're under an outlook. We're in a slight risk from Storm Prediction Center tomorrow. I think that's a little bit overdone.
I can bring that up for you.
Because we have a lot of cloud cover. The air mass needs what's called air mass recovery. So unless you get really strong winds, when you got a lot of cloud cover, you just don't have the fuel to really. I mean, there'll be a few storms here and there, but I don't think it'll be anywhere near what we got today.
No, so that's day 2. That's level 2 out of 5 in the severe weather risk categories from the Storm Prediction Center. And by the way, the Storm Prediction Center is a division of the National Weather Service out of Norman, Oklahoma, and their one big job is to look at where severe weather might happen.
They're the best.
So yeah, there could be some storms, but not like the event that we're talking about tonight.
Mentoring program tonight ending a cleanup 8:30 would better be safe. If you're done by 8:30, Suzanne, you'll be fine.
You're probably pretty good there. I'm going to bring back. Actually, I was wanting to check the reason why we were talking about the stationary front. I'm going to bring up the temperature map. So this is kind of a classic scenario where you've got winter versus.
Look at the cold air up there.
Summer wanting to come through. So you've got 80s south,
Minnesota,
and then you've got 30s, 40s north. And we're going to take this into time with the weather model. So this is basically now. I'm going to jump ahead a couple days. We're going to go to. We'll start with tomorrow.
Okay.
And so this is a big contrast in temperatures. And it won't move. That's why, hence, stalled out stationary front. So look at northern Indiana. This is tomorrow. You're looking north of Indy at 46 degrees, if you can see that on the map. And then you still got the 70s in Kentucky tomorrow afternoon. What a contrast. A 30-degree contrast in temperatures within a very short period of a distance. And then as we go to, let's go probably into Friday, we're going to a little farther out here. What model are we on? We're on GFS high res. We want to go back to temperatures. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit down the road here. Bear with me. To, let's say 2 p.m. on the 4th. That's Friday.
Friday, yeah. Look at that.
So you still have the temperature.
Yeah.
Look at. And so that's what I meant. These stationary fronts wobble as lows come across them. It kind of pulls them up, and then it pulls them down. So at times, southern Indiana might be on the cooler side.
Exactly. Yeah, southern Indiana will be much cooler. Look at Bowling Green, Lake Cumberland. Look down there to the land between the lakes, the difference in the temperatures there. What do you got, difference of 25 degrees?
Yeah. So 25 degree difference in temperatures between Kentucky and Indiana. That's Friday. Yes. So that's what I mean by the battleground. And this keeps a front right over the top of us. That front provides lift. And you've got little waves of wet weather that are going to travel along that. Now, the kind of a big question here is, when are we going to get this damn thing out of here?
Basically.
Pardon my...
That's really the ultimate line. When will this leave and depart and go somewhere else?
So we're going to jump ahead to,
we'll go to something
Sunday.
To kick it out. So Ben's going to show you that.
You kind of need an upper level winds to shift.
You need something to get rid of it.
Push it out. So we're going to go to the 6th, which will be Sunday.
That's Sunday.
8 p.m. And now we've got the cool air winning.
Yeah. I pushed it out. You can see it off to the southeast. There it goes.
With that said, we've got that last wave of wet weather still Sunday, but by late Sunday, we're starting to see the cool air wind. Yep. And I know we're talking about the severe weather tonight, the flooding through Sunday, but for you green thumb enthusiasts tilling the gardens out there, there's the potential for some freezing temperatures.
Yeah,
next week.
Yeah, the end of next week, the F word, the frost and freeze season.
Yes,
I believe we'll be close to that. We're coming up to thunder over Louisville right now. It initially looks much better, but it's very wet down there, so it may be the great mud lawn.
So then we're not going to have much evaporation potential because of the cold temperatures on the way for next week.
Not as much, yeah. But much better weather next week, it appears.
Yeah. Oops.
But you need something to kick this thing out of here. And you see, Ben, looks like a front's going to pick it up on Sunday and send it eastbound, which will be a good thing.
And I'm going to clear all of this out and just go to the CPC, the Climate Prediction Center, and their 8 to 14 day outlook.
Yeah, imagine that.
Is what we're talking about with. So the west warms up.
So it's a reverse pattern. So you get a ridge in the west and a trough in the east. And you really see, look at that in Georgia and Jacksonville. That doesn't look good.
Freezing potential southeastern United States.
Yeah,
not good for
that's
agriculture.
A problem for fruits and agriculture. Yeah, Georgia and Florida, South Carolina, not good.
So even here, I've got a friend, Jim Pfeiffer, Turtle Run Winery over in Lanesville. And this time of year, you get an 80-degree day like this, you start to get early budding if the buds pop.
Yes.
And then you get freezing potential. A lot of those fruit trees up at Huber's, that's a concern for those folks. I've seen them, not extreme measures, but doing what they need to do. Start making little fires underneath them,
pots.
Covering them up.
Yeah, smudge pots. Some people use wind turbines, fans, all kinds of different mechanisms. Yeah, I haven't looked at the detail of the depths of the cold air, but definitely cooler next week.
And really quick, we've covered a lot here over the last 37 minutes. This is the debut of our Ben at 10, but we started it a little earlier. We're going to start it next week, Monday through Friday, just because we wanted to get ahead of this big event. Roll out the red carpet for John Gordon, former meteorologist in charge, head of our local National Weather Service, been around the world literally tracking weather for Air Force and other National Weather Service offices. But again, just want to give you a little bit of a taste of what's to come. Jason, if you want to roll that real quick.
Hey Siri, what's the weather like today? Wait, actually... Hey Dad, what's the weather like today?
Hey, it's going to be mostly sunny today, but still a small chance of a shower, so grab the umbrella just in case. And if you have any weather questions, you can join me on my live.
Hey Siri, what's the weather like today? Wait, actually... Hey Dad, what's the weather like today?
Hey, it's going to be mostly sunny today, but still a small chance of a shower, so grab the umbrella just in case. And if you have any weather questions, you can join me on my live stream at 10 a.m. Monday through Friday on Extol Media's YouTube channel or on my personal Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Piney.
Thanks, Dad.
All right, we are back. So that was my daughter's acting debut as well.
I was impressed.
My daughter, Hannah. Piney, by the way, again.
Hannah.
Tune in Monday. We're going to do stuff like this. We'll have some guests on every once in a while. It might just be me most of the time, but doing a lot of deep digging and analyzing for you weather enthusiasts. Again, Extol Media on YouTube, and then we'll be live streaming on Extol Weather on my Facebook page. So we hope you join us. Please share this as well. Like and hit that like button and the share. Get it out to more folks. Extol, again, means to celebrate, highly praise, and for Southern Indiana is our focus, but we're also obviously looking beyond that as well. And again, I want to thank you very much, John, for being with us here today. Just going to pull up this one more map before we start to kind of wrap things up a little bit. But We are going to bring back the Outlook, which is today. If you're just joining us here at 10:40, we've been going on here for about 40 minutes on this April 2nd. It is 10:40. So a high risk of severe storms over western Kentucky. We are under a moderate risk, which is pretty rare for our area, and that is from I-65 west in Kentucky and then pretty much all of our area in southern Indiana. We've talked about all the ingredients, the fuel for the storms, the strong wind shear. We'll probably have a watch that comes out a little bit later on. I'd say you're the National Weather Service guy. You try to do it a few hours in advance, a watch. So maybe say 9 p.m. it moves into southern Indiana.
6, 7 o'clock.
6, 7 o'clock we'll get a watch.
Yeah.
It looks like that watch has moved into central Illinois, that tornado watch. I know there's a lot on the map right here, but
giving people advance notice.
Just want to look over some of the comments here. Wyatt is a meteorologist. He's going to go to U of L.
Oh, good.
He's going to be studying meteorology down in PRP Valley Station area. He's just, how are you guys doing? Going to be busy for 4 days of severe weather. Hopefully not 4 days of severe weather, Wyatt, but flooding could be severe. That's something we'll need to watch.
Yeah, what is Kentucky? We're a flooding state. Okay, we do get severe weather, but we're flooding. And every year, what kills more people? It's flooding. Southern Indiana, flooding. That's what we have.
So that's going to be a big issue here. We've had Kimberly Bishop. We've had so much rain in the ground. It's so saturated that runoff from the hillside cattle pasture behind my house has created massive trenches in my yard. Water is a very powerful force that I've learned living out in the hills out in Borden, Indiana. We've got some trails in the woods, and water will just cut and make new paths. It does what it wants to do. It's a very heavy force.
Yeah, Indiana has this amazing law that says if you go around a barricade, that you can be arrested. Don't go through a barricade. Turn around, don't drown. Please do not go through flooded waters. Ever, ever, ever.
And Susanna Jacobson mentoring program tonight, ending around 8:30. We talked about that earlier. Yeah, I think if you have after school plans, there's practices, there's games, there's baseball, there's tennis practice, there's a lot of other practices going on. And I know there's a lot of athletic directors that make tough decisions to try to make sure that kids stay safe and away from the storm. So it looks like we're pretty good up until about 9 p.m. Yep. Might get that watch ahead of time, which might make the decision easier sometimes for.
Yeah, there'll be a watch probably, I would guess, by 7 o'clock tonight. And then action really gets going this evening. Saw the balloon in Key West. A lot of nice compliments here.
Thank you, Andrea, for watching here. Thank you, Brandon, for tuning in. Diana Hall, you're very welcome. Glad you're tuning in. Happy to see you guys. Just looking over some of the comments here.
What time will the storm hit Georgetown? 10:30.
Your guess is 10:30. Very educated guess. We'll look at the high resolution data before we wrap things up again, just to show you as it moves in. I think that's very important. That'll help answer a lot of questions.
Nice comment from Kimberly.
Kimberly, thank you for tuning in. Hey, Wayne.
Wayne Hettinger's in the building.
Wayne Hettinger from.
He's the main guy.
Every Thunder over Louisville.
There's a great guy, Michael Montgomery. Oh, Michael, you have the best photographer.
Yeah,
you're the man.
Out
You're
of Mount Washington.
Star.
Always appreciate your photos. And Michael's a good follow with his Facebook page because he shares all kinds of stuff.
Solid as a rock.
Mike Siebert, thanks for tuning in here. Monica Darty, give us some good news. What's the good news here over the next 2 weeks, John?
The good news is that Thunder looks wonderful. Next week looks wonderful.
It is a quieter, cooler weather pattern next week. But the Ohio River, we're going to talk at 2 p.m. with Mike Callahan, hydrologist with the National Weather Service for, I think, over 40 years. Yeah. The timing, so it takes a while for the Ohio River to swell and crest because all the smaller river systems are coming in. So maybe midweek, we get possibly a big crest.
So for Indiana, I would think the Wabash is going to be a big problem.
We got Silver Creek, Muddy Fork. We've seen water come up to the amphitheater in New Albany. I mean, you've probably talked to city managers, county councils. about those floodgates? Do you think they're in preparation to put in floodgates?
Yeah, I think they're just talking about it for sure.
Talking about it?
They are. They got to have plans. Someone's going to get a lot of rain, and you got to have a plan. The plan is way ahead of time, not the day of the rain. Watching from Madison, you got a big fan. Borden.
Thanks for tuning in here, guys.
Weather will look for thunder. Nice. Wayne's here. I got to say it's nice.
Do you want to make a cameo, Wayne? We're live right now. Oh, you can, if you stand right here behind us.
Come on up here.
John wants to tell a story about how he had to mess up one of your forecasts.
He knows
That's kind of on top of the mind right now, for sure.
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So I moved to
come right-
Louisville
right
in
here.
2005. I knew nothing of Thunder over Louisville. I knew nothing. They asked me to fill in the long term that day. Remember
Right.
this, April 05. And I said, the forecast was in the 70s. And I looked at the data. I'm like, this is not good. We're going to be like in the 30s or 40s. I dropped the high temperature 30 degrees. And I said, I called you. I said, you don't know me. This is a one-time free call. Could be really nasty, probably low clouds, windy, might even sleet is what I told you.
Oh, yeah.
And what happened?
It sleeted.
There you go.
All the cables going out the door at the command center had a crack in the door about like that. And ice was coming in. My computer was frosted over. Yeah, it wasn't.
So these
it wasn't
weather
one of the
events
better
leave an
days.
imprint on your memory.
Oh, you betcha.
That was
You
the
know, I
worst
don't
one I
care
remember.
what we do. Mother Nature will tell us who's boss. There's no question
So
about it.
some of my former guys are up there in the Galt House
Right.
providing support to our partners.
Right?
So some things you look at, it might not even be rain or sleet. It may just cloud level.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Air show.
Affect the air show. Hopefully we don't have any clouds next week. Not this weekend, but next week.
Right.
And then, of course, precipitation of any kind. And so we always just hope for the best in April.
We do, but the show's going to go on. There's no question about
The main
that.
man
So,
right there.
And how many years have you been putting this on?
36, which is
36 years.
it's hard to imagine, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
We got the legend in the house.
He is.
Thank you for
He
being
is
with
the
us.
Are you
legend.
kidding? Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Been
Great to see you
Great
again.
to see you, brother.
Keep my weather straightened
I'll
out.
try to. We'll get it. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to hope for the best here for Thunder over Louisville and all the area. And, you know, we hope for the best tonight, again, as we've been talking about the severe weather threat. Again, we're at about 10:47. We're going to wrap up here over the next few minutes. I want to briefly bring back up the high-resolution weather models to time this out. I think that'll answer a lot of questions if you're curious about the timing of this weather. So I'm going to bring up one last map here. Okay. And this will take us to the model data. And we have I believe the HER loaded up. Nope. We're going to bring it. What do you want, the HER or the NAM 3 kilometer?
Do the NAM 3 kilometer.
All right. And we're
So
going to bring
he's
up.
pulling that up. So once again, we got a wind advisory. It's going to be very windy today. We'll be up near 80 degrees. And then this evening, we wait for this line of storms to move off to the east. The thing you're seeing on Ben's radar right there is the worst thing that can happen is those little things ahead of the main line. These little individual cells are called discrete cells. That's why the area around Memphis up towards Paducah is really under the gun.
So we're going to look ahead. I'm going to pull this forward. This is 7 p.m. You're starting to see like what you're talking about, some discrete cells ahead of the line. We don't want that. They're kind of like tops. They like to spin a little bit more sometimes.
Times that.
This is 8 p.m.
8. This is a little faster, the new run.
All right. So this is 8 p.m. We're going to go to 9 p.m.
Yeah, right on Bedford. So this model's a little faster. You got slower models and
like we
faster
talked
models.
about earlier, one or 2 hour give or take. So we're looking at Bedford, Paoli, Crawford County, Jasper, around Du Bois County, heading your way at around 9 p.m. That's big heads up around that time period there. I'm going to go ahead and go full screen so you guys can see this a little bit better. And we'll move in here. So then if we go forward another hour, 10 p.m., we're talking I-65, Seymour down to Austin, Scottsburg. You're starting to get in the way of this storm. A lot of southern Indiana impact first, as it seems to be the case almost always.
Almost always.
Then it starts to drop down into Louisville and our Kentucky
this one may
areas.
be a tad too fast. I still think in 10-11 is not a bad number.
So I'm going to go back to I'm going to go to the
I
HER
think
here.
that's right. Let's see what time that's got.
I'm going to jump back in time a little bit
I
here.
like that.
We're going to go to 8 p.m. and this will load here.
Should be way west. Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Reset your minds here. Here's 8 p.m.
So we look at
tonight.
a lot of data, folks,
Yeah.
a lot of data. And then you got to make decisions. When I started, we had one computer model. Now we've got so many I can't count.
So we're comparing and contrasting a little bit here. And we go to 9 p.m. So you may, by 9 p.m., even if the storms are just out to your west, start to get some warnings by that time.
Right.
We'll likely have a tornado watch before this.
There will be one.
And well in advance.
There will be one.
So that's, again, 9 p.m. There's 10 p.m.
There's the hail cores. You see those popping up.
Yeah, there's the hail. I'm going to go full screen here for you. So you mentioned hail cores. You could see golf ball size hail out of this. If you got golf ball size hail, you have an updraft strong enough to keep and create those big ice stones. That means you've got damaging wind potential and maybe tornado potential as well. Can you talk about the nature of the tornadoes? A lot of times we'll say spin up tornadoes, which kind of means EF0, EF1, but there has been mention of maybe some potentially isolated stronger tornadoes.
Right. Okay. What you're seeing here is basically along the line. So we have that quasi-linear convective system, and these are spinning up along the leading edge as air pushes in on both sides. You have updraft on the front side and pushing on the back side, and you create a spin. The ones that worry me are the ones that could form late afternoon down towards Memphis and eastern Arkansas, Louisiana, moving off to the northeast. Those would be the head of the main line. Those are very problematic all across western Tennessee, western Kentucky. Those are what's called a supercell, a rotating updraft with time. So it tilts down from the horizontal into the vertical down, and that could be a big problem for the west of us as you push east. What Ben's got up there is
11 p.m.
11 p.m. That's a line of storms. So I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you right now there will be warnings tonight. All right?
Yeah.
There will be warnings tonight. So have a weather radio, your phone app, whatever you have more than one way to receive a warning, and pay attention tonight. It's the real deal.
So that is 11 p.m. I'm going to push this forward in time. So, Louisville kind of big heads up around 11, and then areas east of I-65, these storms could still be charging along with some strength here.
I think anything up to west of 75 is in play, mainly US 127 to the west. Southern Indiana, all our listeners there are under the threat tonight. You're all in it. It doesn't matter if you're in Clifty Falls or you're in Jasper. It doesn't matter.
With that, I think we have covered it all,
my friend. Pay attention, folks.
We covered the severe weather threat tonight, the flooding event that will likely shape up over the next 4 days through Sunday. Colder weather on the way for next week. Possible river flooding next week. We want that river to go down in time for the big fireworks and air show the following weekend.
Right.
Thank you so much for
brother.
debuting
Enjoyed
our
it.
Xtoll Weather live stream show. It's going to be Ben at 10 next week, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. every morning. Happy to be here, based out of Xtoll Weather, New Albany, Indiana. Again, Southern Indiana focused, but the motto is beyond as well. So thank you so much. I want to look at a few comments here that just came in, and then we'll say goodbye. We're at 10:52. Angie Keith, thanks for the reports and information. You're welcome. Jennifer Flispart, you are welcome as well. Any specifics on Marion and Hardin counties? We showed that map. It looks like Metro Louisville, I-65, 11 p.m. time frame.
Hardin 11 is not a bad number. Marion a little bit later, 11:30 to 12.
And just be prepared ahead of time before that gets there. We're going to see a lot of, if you have a creek system, watch out for the kids.
Yes.
If they're playing after school, keep them away from high water,
Yes.
rivers, creeks, and streams. Beverly asking about Borden. It looks like about probably around 10 p.m. Watch out there. So just getting to Josh Mabe. Tom Mabe's son, comedian Tom Mabe at J-Town.
Wow. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Big weather enthusiast as well and supporter. Thanks for watching. All right. I think we got it there, John. That wraps it up. Ben at 10. We've been on for about 54 minutes. Hope you enjoyed some of this information from the best right here, John Gordon. So thanks for your expertise, and I appreciate you helping out.
Nice talking.
Be safe out there, guys, tonight, and we'll see you next time.